Hi, everybody. This is Shane Lambert, and I'm here to talk about my novel again today. It's called Down and Out in the Canadian Rockies, part one of the Suit in the Backpack series. This novel is, what I want to talk about today is my notion of realism when it comes to writing this series. Um, Firstly, kind of in the background, I took film studies courses when I was in university, and we talked about film realism, um, and what exactly does it mean? Because the very notion of acting is fake. Editing is not realistic to real life. But firstly, you get all these movies where in terms of the plot, have you ever watched a movie and thought the plot was unrealistic? If you talk to a lawyer about a law movie, most of them will say these movies are very phony. If you talk to somebody who works in an emergency room and then you go and like a television series like they'll tell you, life's not like that. And myself, I've been like that, my profession is hotel work, but also in personal experience, I backpacked a lot in my 20s. And when I read novels about travel, I scoffed at them a bit, including Jack Kerouac's On the Road. I did not think that that was a very realistic novel in terms of situations. It was realistic in the sense, the laws of physics applied. He doesn't put on a Superman cape and save the day. But, some of the situations I was like, come on, you expect people to believe that? Where he goes into a restaurant with no money and orders food, and the restaurant owner says, here, you can wash dishes and work off your bill. And it's like, well, isn't that a grandiose coincidence that the owner of the restaurant was in that kind of mood, or had that kind of opportunity available right at that precise moment when he was about to commit a crime of stealing food, right? I scoff at kind of situations like that where I don't think it's very realistic. Also, if I'm sure a lot of you that think of a book or movie that a lot of you have seen, like Lord of the Rings, where the hobbits are alone or they're with Gandalf, but Gandalf goes away, and then the hobbits get into some kind of big trouble, and then right when everything comes to fruition, Gandalf comes back and saves the day. It's kind of like it's called a plot coupon, where you build up this huge problem that seems like it can't be solved, and that hooks the audience, and then the magician comes in or the wizard comes in and just saves the day. I don't like representation like that, and I brought that into my series, which is about a backpacker. The series starts with the backpacker wanting to go backpacking but not having enough money, and he doesn't win the lottery. His rich grandpa doesn't die and leave him everything. He's gotta go get a job, and he decides to take that job in a resort town just to try and get away from where he was living beforehand, and to try and mix a little bit of adventure into his work life for the time being, while he saves money for backpacking. But he has to face that problem in a very realistic way, in my opinion, and that's get a job, work it, save money, try and be financially responsible. It's the whole first novel is about him just saving money to backpack and working in a resort town, and what transpires is a realistic behind the scenes kind of view of what it's like to work in a resort town from a worker's perspective, of course, not the tourist perspective. So it's kind of a flip-flop to what's to come in the other parts of the novel, because in the other parts of the novel he does have the money he saved to go traveling, and so then he's the tourist. But for the first part of the series, he's the worker in the tourist town. And, when it comes with luck, it comes and goes, right? Sometimes you do get good luck, other times you don't. But I really made an effort for my character not to have any kind of unrealistic luck. And that's my notion of realism, is that with these situations, you don't just run out of money and have somebody throw an opportunity at you. So, if you are into that, where you're more of a thinking reader, because to me, in order to accept a lot of other literature where the main character is always saved, you have to be in a really different frame of mind, like, because I scoff at that when I read it. And the people who just accept that, it's almost like they're in a fantasy world themselves. So I do try and take people out of that with this novel, which has gotten some good reviews so far. And it's called Down and Out in the Canadian Rockies, and at the moment it's available on Amazon. Thank you. Hope you read it. Bye-bye.